Hey guys, this is Miss Adams, and we are looking at Unit 5 test review, and we're going to be looking at Section 6, which is dealing with our applications of geometric sequences. So, problem 16 says, Daring Dave decides to bungee jump off the Empire State Building. The table below shows his height decreasing at 40% after each bounce. So, for bounce 1, he's at a height of 1,250 feet. Bounce 2, he's at 500 feet. Bounce 3, he's at 200 feet. The first thing it's asking me to do is write the recursive formula for the geometric sequence in the table. Well, even though it told us that it's decreasing by 40% each bounce, we can find our R value by doing 500 divided by 1,250. And when I take 500 and divide that by 1,250, that does give us an R value of 0.4. So, there's my common ratio, and I know that my initial value, my A sub 1, was that 1,250 feet. So, in order to write the recursive formula, I've got A sub 1 equals 1,250. And I could say that A sub n is equal to A sub n minus 1 times my common ratio of 0.4. Then it asked me to write the explicit formula. That's just going to be A sub n is equal to my initial value of 1,250 feet multiplied by my common ratio of 0.4. I'm going to raise that to the n minus 1 power. It then asked me to write an exponential function that models this sequence. So instead of A sub n, I'm going to have my function at the value of x is equal to 1,250 times 0.4, now raised to the x minus 1 power. Next, it's wanting us to apply this and says, use your formula to determine how far off the ground Dave will be after 6 bounces. So, instead of n, I've now got my n value. So, my term number is going to be 6. So, I've got A sub 6. I'm using that formula from part B is equal to 1,250 times 0.4 to the 6 minus 1 power. So if I plug that in my calculator, I need to make sure that I have in my exponent 6 minus 1, and that's going to give me 12.8 feet. So after 6 bounces, he's going to be 12.8 feet in the air. The last thing it asked me is what's the domain of the sequence and what's the domain for the exponential function. So for my sequence, I know I've only been given the values 1, 2, and 3, so the domain for my sequence is going to be listed as 1, 2, and 3. This is a discrete sequence because we're not connecting those dots. I haven't told you about the stuff in between. But if it ever asks you for the domain of a function then is going to have the domain from negative infinity to positive infinity. That's assuming that it doesn't have a starting point that we can go past the time of 0. So we're not worried about that too much. What we're really trying to get at with this question, because it's a function, functions have a domain from negative infinity to positive infinity, while sequences have a listed domain. So let's go to our next problem. It says your decision between 2 colleges has come down to the cost of tuition, which is a very common issue that most high schoolers face. So it says, write an explicit formula to represent the cost of attending Campbell College after X years. So Campbell College has an initial value of $8,000, and we need to find its common ratio. So my ratio for Campbell College is going to be $8,320 divided by 8,000. So that's going to give me a common ratio of 1.04. So if I write the explicit formula for Campbell College, I've got A sub n is equal to 8,000 multiplied by 1.04 to the n minus 1 value. And if I write an explicit formula to represent the cost of attending Upstream University, I've got to find my common ratio. So I'm going to start off with $8,925 and divide that by my initial value of $8,750. So $8,925 divided by $8,750 is going to give me a common ratio of 1.02. So the explicit formula for Upstream University is going to be $8,750 times 1.02 to the n-1 value. But you want to graduate school and stay in school for, so you're graduating college and staying in school for 8 years. We need to figure out which one's going to have the cheaper cost after 8 years. So let's use orange for our Campbell College. And I know I need to find a sub 8, and that's going to be $8,000 multiplied by 1.04 times 8 minus 1 power, because I'm trying to figure out when my term number is 8. So we've got 8,000 times 1.04 raised to the 8 minus 1 power. So that means after 8 years, tuition at Campbell College is going to be $10,527.45. Now let's look at Upstream University. We'll use blue for Upstream University. So I'm also going to put 8 in for my term number. But now I've got 8,750 times 1.02 to the 8 minus 1 power. And I'm going to use my calculator for this. So I've got 1.02, and I'm going to raise it to the 8 minus 1 power. That's going to give me a tuition of $10,050. And I'm gonna round it to $51 because it's 0.999 cents. So comparing these is actually cheaper, even though it costs more to attend initially. It's actually cheaper to attend the Upstream University.